Hey everyone, just want to do a quick audio check. Thanks for tuning in. Ooh, yeah. All right. Well, I think we're good to go ahead and get started. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Please let me know in the chat if everything looks good and sounds good. I'm gonna try and monitor it myself, but I want to make sure that you can hear it. Want to say hey to everyone that is already here and saying hello in the chat. Um, Elia, thanks for hanging out. Project Zorgo, thank you for typing all the letters on the keyboard. It looks like some of those were hidden. Let me just do a quick little check here. Tush. All right, that's me. I'm talking. All right. Let's see who else we got here. Josh, hey, thanks for saying loud and clear. And let's see. So Genevieve got a question here: how to retrieve data back to the screen label field from a web API JSON object and nested object array. Good question. Maybe we can get back to that in a bit. Rob, how can I display a Firebase list in a list viewer? Well, let me go ahead and answer our first question of the evening. Let's do this real quick. All right, so here we have my screen, and Rob, that is it's crazy that you asked that question. If you go to my website and come down to my blog here, I've written 2 blogs so far. One is an introduction to using the any component, and the other one is called How to Display a Firebase List in a Thunkable List Viewer. So I don't know if you're like helping me out there with giving me a nice, easy one to answer. But yeah, just come to amomine.com/blog and read that article, and you'll be good to go. I'm thinking about doing a video on that soon. Anyways, all right. So Alfonso, hey, thanks for hanging out. Dave, thanks for hanging out. Dave, did you submit a question? I think yes, you did. Cool. Not happy. Sonu says not happy with Thunkable Pro. My big mistake was to take Thunkable Pro. I'm curious what you're not liking about Thunkable Pro. Just let us know. And then Celibert. Hi, can I create an Uber-like app? Good question. Uber is very, very complex. I haven't tried making anything like that. I'm working on a project right now where we're connecting people using Firebase Cloud variables. So yeah, that's a good one. Cool. So it looks like we have a few people tuned in here. Thank you all for hanging out. And all right, let's go back and see if we can answer any of these questions. The first one was from Elia. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. How can you display the swipe back navigation feature? I don't want my users, disable to be able to swipe back to their login page after they have logged in. I do not know the answer to that. I'm not sure if that's in the properties, but I'm curious why you would not want them to do that. one of the things that I do on my apps whenever we have a login is if the users we store their login information, and if they're logged in, we just log them in. So if they come back to that login screen, it just automatically logs them in. I think I have a tutorial on that. .com/Thunkable X tutorials. If we go to the playlists and Firebase, so this is my data storage and APIs. Oh, wrong one. Nope, that is not correct. Where would it be at? Oh, Firebase app example. So in this one, in Thunkable X, the second one here, Thunkable X sign up login screen masterclass. And that one, I'll walk you through how to save their information and automatically sign them in if they are already logged in, if they save their stuff. All right, seeing a few more people come in. How can I highlight an item selected in the list viewer? That's from Robert. Robert, I believe, you asked this one. We're gonna get to that question in a bit. Is a Tinder-like app possible to be created in Thunkable? I do not have much experience with Tinder. Actually, I've never downloaded it or used it. I'm married, so I don't have a need for that stuff. I think for the most part, yes, you're connecting. People are creating profiles. You're connecting them through some kind of algorithm, and you're allowing them to say hey, let me connect with this person. There's an example out there on the forums for a chat app, so you're allowing them to chat. So I think that one would definitely be possible. All right, so I think with that, I do want to respect all of your time here, but also want to respect that this is a Q&A. So before we do anything, let me just kind of say, why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? So I've been doing Thunkable X tutorials for about 2 years now. My story, if you haven't heard it yet, is basically I was mentoring some local high school students about 2 years ago, and I was helping them with making an app for a STEM project. And the platform that the directors had us use was Thunkable, and I'd never heard of it before. And I just really fell in love, and I just thought it was so cool because I've been coding for 5, 6, 7 years now, but there's just something cool about Thunkable where it lets you kind of I don't know. It's just, for me as a coder who does coding all day, it's just simple, and so it's nice not to have to worry about the coding, like the words aspect of it, and I can just kind of focus on the thought process behind it. So that process is kind of cool. Anyway, so I thought it was cool, but I really struggled with figuring out how to do things, and so I can tell you guys, all of you on here have been in a similar place where you're trying to figure out how to do something and you can't really figure it out. And for me, when I got started, there was really nothing online. There were tutorials on YouTube, but they were all related to the old platform of Thunkable or for MIT App Inventor. And as I figured things out, I was like, man, I really see an opportunity for someone to come up here and start teaching it. And I wanted to help others where I'd struggled. So basically what I'm doing now is as I figure things out, I'm trying to teach them, and I have been able to kind of make some money off of this. I'm starting this as a business, and my goal really is to do this full time one day if I can make that work. And so how does that relate to this? Well, I just want to give an opportunity for us to connect more. Since I do have a full-time job, I'm not able to respond to all my emails all the time with the due diligence that I want to. So I wanted to create a place for us to kind of chat, you to ask questions, and me to do my best to answer them. And what I also think is cool about this is you can see what other people are asking, and you can see how I respond to those questions. So that's kind of my spiel for what we're doing here tonight. I know you're not here to hear from me. Maybe you are. That'd be nice, but let's be honest. You have a problem, you want to figure it out. So with that said, I think I want to get into a few of the questions that came in. And real quick, let me say hey to Claudine, Renee. Thanks for joining. So what I have over here is a bunch of people. I assume you saw the link. There's a link below this video in the description where you can submit questions for the next one that I'm hoping we'll do next week. I'll be sure to let you know. But I'm looking at all those questions that came in before the call, and we're going to kind of go through these now. So the first one comes in from Wasim, and they say local storage is not working in Thunkable web app, which means variables are also not working. So what is an alternative solution to variables? So they're saying local storage is not working. How can we work around that? And when will local storage be fixed? So let's go ahead and switch over to my screen here, and let's take a look at that. So basically, something is not working. So whenever something is not working the way we expect, that is called a bug. And bug in code, I think I would consider this a bug. So it's either a bug on Thunkable's side because it's not doing what they're expecting, or it's a bug on your side because it's not doing what you want it to do in the app. So what Wasim says is that local storage is not working. So the first thing, so I have local storage here, and I did look at a few of these before. So let's work through this one. So they say local storage is not working. So local storage is just a place where you can store data on the user's phone. So they're saying it's not working. So let's look at this. So when my screen starts on this app, I want to save something to local storage. So let's say we want to save test and save in hello world. And I'm doing something very, very simple here because whenever something is working, you want to kind of break it up into pieces and work through the process in pieces. Whoa, my cursor. Sorry about that. So hello world. So local storage calls. I'm going to save that whenever the screen starts. And what do we want to do after that? So to test this, to see if local storage is working, let's add a label to the screen. And once that is saved in local storage, let's go ahead and display it on the screen. So to do that, we've saved it. Now we need to get it. So if we go to local storage bucket and we get the get block, what that allows us to do is enter a key for the data we just stored. So it's going to be the same thing, test. And then from our label, we can save the value that we just got through this function right here. So now what we should see whenever we test it is hello world should show up on the screen. So that would tell me that local storage is working. So I think this might be a bug on the question asker's side. But let me also show you one of the things that Thunkable advises is not to use local storage because stored variables are supposedly better. So let me show you how to do this with the stored variable because it's the exact same thing as local storage. So if we add a new variable here and go to stored, we can say, we'll just leave it as name. And we'll say whenever the screen starts, we will set name equal to some, actually let's do this because it's already there. Hello world. And we'll say, hello Thunkers. So we set that variable there, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll show this on the screen. So set label, set text to the variable we just saved, which is stored. And let me also, I know this might be hard for some of you to see, so let me zoom in there. So now, whenever the screen starts, we should see this in the label. So live test, and it says hello Thunkers. So that tells me that it is all working fine and dandy. So Wasim, I think this is on your side, man. So next question, this one comes in from Lee Nicholson. What language is Thunkable X written in? Just curious. So good question. I actually know the answer to this one. So Thunkable is written or pieces of it are written in React Native. And this is developed by Facebook, I believe. This is what they build all their stuff on. And what this is the tool set that allows your app to be exported into both iOS and Android devices. And if you want to see, if you're a real coder, if you want to see what Thunkable's been doing, if you go to their GitHub, Thunkable GitHub, you can see all of the forks and stuff that they've made. So you can see here like React Native static server, React Native. So they've kind of Dialogflow. They're building their stuff off of React Native. So that's where all that comes from. All right, Emilio asks, I'm new to this. Where should I start? So good question. That's kind of where I come in. That's where I try to keep, start with everybody. So what I can say is, let me do this. So if we go to my website, amblemine.com, we actually have this up right here. So if you go to my website right here, and you sign up, you'll get access to my Thunkable toolkit. I just want to pull up kind of what I'm going to point you to. And in that toolkit, I have my idea to App Store guide, and that is what I would suggest. So if you're just starting out, a great place to start is my idea to App Store guide, and it's a 6-step guide to creating your app in Thunkable. Basically, after I finished my first app in Thunkable, I broke everything down into steps, and that's what this is. It's the process I went through, all the tools that I used, and so this shows you kind of the full picture of how to create your app in Thunkable. And if you recently signed up, I just added a new kind of beginner course to people who just sign up to be subscribed to my emails. And that kind of takes you through a 5-day journey of getting started, and it takes you through, basically guides you through a course based off all of my YouTube videos. So if you're interested in that, and you aren't receiving those emails, just send me an email and I'll forward you on that PDF. I haven't made that available anywhere yet. Cool. So there's 3 questions. Let's check back in, see what y'all are saying. Boop, boop, boom. All right. Celebrate. Your wife needs to allow you to grow that beard. So here's the thing on the beard. I don't like it. Let me show you. Let's see. Let me go back to my videos. Where's my channel? I would grow a beard, honestly, if I could. But I was looking. This was the video I was looking at the other day. Here, let me get through this ad. All right, so right here, this guy. This is Darren's beard. See, it's all super patchy. I can't really grow it. I got my little wannabe stash. I tried to grow it out. Honestly, I did. It's just not working for me. So I have to stick to my luscious hair. I don't know how many of you can relate, but over here in the U.S. where I'm at, my lady who cuts my hair, she's not working right now, so I've been kind of stuck on my own. And so the other day, like the sides of my hair was all like down to here, and so I guess Wednesday we just went and shaved off all around. So now I just have my nice little mane on top of my head, and that's why I keep my hat on. But I think it looks cool. But the beard not happening anytime soon. So. We gotta go. It's me. How can we show our user location that they entered in the search bar? It's a geolocalization app that they entered in a search bar. So I'm assuming you're wanting them to be able to utilize like Google search, where they are like entering it in, and you want to be able to return that. Can you clarify that for me? And then Celebrate. I want to create an app that has similar features to Google Forms Google Sheets, Google Calendar, and video embedding. Will my data storage be Firebase? So Google Forms, yes, you can store that in Firebase. Google Sheets, I think Thunkable is coming out with the Google Sheets integration soon, so maybe that will help. Google Calendar, a calendar, all of that is data based, so anything you want to do data wise, you can store inside of Thunkable. And video embedding. If you're storing the links, you can store those inside of Firebase and then pull in the video into Thunkable. So a few things there you can do with Firebase. Firebase is very powerful. I'm definitely a fan of it. That's why I teach so much on it. It's me, yes. So let's look at the forums. So we want to know if we can search for, I believe you have to use the API for this. So search for address Google. Let's just go with that one. I'm not seeing anything. Google address API. Get latitude, longitude from address. This looks promising. It took about half a day of trying, but now I want to share an option to get the coordinates of an address in Thunkable iOS via web API, which connects to Google Maps API for extended use. Should get an official API. So yeah, I think you have to use Google's Maps API. So I'll go ahead and share this in the chat for you. And I think that should get you started on searching for locations. Why does the Thunkable app show design of the app code? Why doesn't show the design of the app we code nicely on the Thunkable Live app? So basically, this is a question I think that came in on one of the. It was one question on one of the submissions for questions for this evening. So why is this not nice? I mean, all I can really say is I don't really know. I hope it can be improved. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but so Thunkable, they recently did this where they have the where they're showing your app like on the web, and this is like for a tutorial creator. I mean, this is great because I don't have to pull out my phone and go through all of that trouble. But what they're also doing is right here, preview as a responsive web app. So if we click on that, so now this app is showing up as like a web page. I just saw this today, so I think that's really cool. And they have some documentation on the docs on which components aren't being supported. So some things will not be supported. Some things will be supported but may not work as expected, like the geolocation because your laptop may not allow it. AdMob cannot be supported. That makes sense. You'll have to use Google's AdSense for some other ads if you wanted to use that on a web page. So anyways, I think that's cool. I'm excited to play around with some of that. All right, let's go on to some more questions that came in from before. And everyone, let me know if you like what we're kind of doing here. I'm just going to keep on talking and doing my thing. Hopefully you're learning something. Hopefully all the good stuff. Yeah. All right, so a question came in from Alba. Does there exist any way to make a presentation screen in Thunkable? For example, in WhatsApp, when you open the application first, you can see the WhatsApp logo during some seconds. So I think this is referring to a splash screen. That's what we call it in Thunkable. So let's actually look. Let's do some kind of exploring. So if we go to, let's go to Snapgram. So what I'm going to do now is take a look at an app that was already created and see if it has a splash screen on it. Nope, it doesn't. Not a good example. Let's try, I don't think any of mine do. Let's try work credit. No splash screen on this either. All right. Anyways, so let me just show you real quick how to make a splash screen. So we'll go ahead and call this splash screen, and we'll move this up to the top. There are a lot of examples of this. You can definitely look around for some more. So I don't have an image. Maybe I'll just show this loading. Pull up a big. I love the text right here. Extra large. Can you see that? Extra large. And so basically, instead of this loader here, you would put your image or whatever you wanted on there. And then if we go to the blocks, if you come to splash screen, and we'll say when splash screen opens, we want to wait, let's just say 3 seconds. And once we have waited 3 seconds, we can navigate to our next screen. And then we should be on this screen. So let's test that out. So boom, we have the loader going. And then we go to the next screen. Awesome. So that's how to create a splash screen. I personally don't use this for the sake of showing a logo. Maybe that's because I'm a pro member, because I know when you open up the app, it shows, if you're not using Thunkable Pro, then it will show the Thunkable logo and it'll say made by Thunkable on the app. But if you are using Thunkable Pro, then that, where it shows that, it shows the icon for the app. And so that effectively is a splash screen. But where I have used things like this before is when I am loading things from Firebase, or I'm trying to load up data. I worked on an app recently where we were making a list. We had a list in Firebase of a bunch of objects, and we wanted to sort that list based off some of the data inside of those objects. So I think we were sorting it by a numeric value. And I used this because that kind of calculation and sorting was taking a while. So what we did was, and to help divide, that's the other thing, to help divide up some of the blocks, because there's so much going on behind the scenes, there were so many blocks. And so what I did was I had like 3 different screens. One said like loading data, one said like updating data, and the other one said like logging you in or something. And on each one of those screens, we performed a specific tasks. And once that task was done, we moved on to the next one. And that helped with performance of the app. So it was going a lot, or performance editing the app, because there weren't as many blocks on the screen. And yeah, it was just nice kind of separating things out. So that's where I've used these before. I haven't really done them just to say, hey, this is my app. All right, so that was a question from Alba. Hopefully that works for you. I have a question from Evelyn. They ask, how can I send an image to get image from Airtable? How can you create a chatbot using our dialog flow component? This will be a lifesaver for me if you can address these issues. Let me circle back on this one if we have time. I'm not really sure on a few of those areas. Anant asks, how do you add remainders to an item list? So I know we're going to be working with list viewers. So let me go ahead and set up kind of a test case for us, because I know that Robert had some questions about lists, and I think there were a few more in here. So for this, I'm just going to set up a test case where we have an initial list, and then we want to add something to that list. I think that's kind of what we're going for with remainders. So let me delete this loading icon. We're going to grab a list viewer, and when this starts, let me go ahead and set up a variable for our list. And we'll initially set this list to hello world. And when the screen opens, we're going to set the text item. I'm going to switch this to starts because it can happen before this, whenever the screen starts, not necessarily. It doesn't have to happen after it opens. And text items, we'll set that to view list. All right. Hello world. Oh, I didn't even think about this. So yeah, this creates a string. Yeah, because it's a string. It's not an actual list. So let me switch that out. We'll say this is going to be a list. 1, 2, 3. So let's switch it out for that. Test that. All right. So whenever you're working with lists, and this answers another question that came in, you always want to store the list in a variable on the screen inside of the app. So store it in something else. You then update that variable, and then you set the text items of your list viewer to that variable. So if I was to try, maybe I don't think this will work, but let's see. So let's say let's use this. So we're gonna wait 3 seconds, and in our list, let's say in list text items, insert at last ABC. Let's see if that works. 1, 2, 3. See, that doesn't work. So you can't update the list viewer directly. You need to update another list, or you need to update a list variable and then set the list viewer to that variable. So let's switch this up to the correct way to do it. So if we say in list vlist, insert at last ABC, then from list viewer set text items back to vlist, this should work. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So now we have 2 things in there. Interesting. Why did that insert twice? Very interesting. Peculiar to say the least. Let's try it again. Oh, this is cool. So we can see the list on the list viewer. It went 3 times. So I think it's because we're not, maybe it's not clearing out the cache. And the cache is just stuff that's saved in memory. So if we switch this around to set blist to here, and we have this, that should only do, actually I don't think that's going to change anything. I don't know, maybe that's an issue with the web. Anyways, enough on that one. So that's how to add something to a list. All right, so who do we have in the chat here? Let's check in. Why is Thunkable Live not a thing? Thunkable Live chat. I don't know. I can't speak to their support on their live chat. That's from Aliyah. And all right, let's go to Rob. Robert, I know you're here. So I know you asked some questions. Let me go ahead and answer some of those for you. All right, so since we're talking about the list viewer, so Robert asks within, and this came in, this isn't in the chat. He asks within a list view, which is what we have here. When a user selects an item, I'm trying to figure out how to highlight that list item with a color. So basically they click on it and that list highlights. Save that for a second. The next question, can we list multiple data across each row? For example, a leaderboard might have a profile photo, profile name, each score. Next question. I have added code to add an item not in the list. However, I cannot get the list refreshed right away without leaving the screen and going back to it. So that last one, that might be a bug. I'd have to test it out. I don't know if I was seeing something like that, but maybe that one, that example I just showed you, might help you. You can try that out. And then Robert asks, is it possible, looking to see if we can create a screen that would be a place for community forums? Not sure how we would code this, and have not seen a similar app to review. All right. So Robert, these are great questions. I love talking about these because I've had clients ask me about them as well. So basically, for your first two questions, which are, can I click on a list item and then that row highlight with a color? That is not supported with the current list viewer. Your second question, can we list multiple data across each row? So can we have a picture and a item and then their score? So like different things like that. The answer to that is, again, no, with the native list viewer. Now let me see if they have it on here. Actually, I don't think it's going to be on this account. Let me switch over to my pro account real quick. And this might just be, because this is the account I use on the community forums that they had this. So something that is coming that is not working currently is a new list viewer. And I'm going to tease this here. Not sure if they want this, but it's coming and I'm very excited about it. And so that is this right here. Let me go full screen. So zoom in. So there's a new list viewer coming to town, and it's called a data viewer list, and then a data viewer grid. And what these are is kind of what you're asking for, Robert. So it's a way to have multiple things inside of your list. So let me go ahead and create a data source. So we'll say test. And in test, select table 1, click here to edit the data. So right here I have some things in here. And I haven't played around with this too much. Mainly what I'm trying to show is what you're going to be able to do. Is this sharing? Yeah, cool. What you're going to be able to do is have like these different list items like we see in apps. So you can see here they have like a little thumbnail that you can add, some text. So here's kind of what you're looking for, Robert, is you have a picture, you have some information about the user, and then you have some text over here for like their score. So perfect. And then they're also going to have these little cards, as I would call them, where you have a picture on top, some text, and then some like little lettering down here. So this is coming, and I'll go ahead and show you the data viewer grid. Let me get rid of this. And so this is where you can have like different thumbnails where you're going to be able to click on them. You can kind of do this with buttons and some overlays right now, but I'm thinking once this is rolled out officially, this will be nice and handy. But what do we do about that now? That's really the question. So let me point you to an article, Robert, that you might be able to use right now. So if you go to the community forums and you go to custom list viewer, basically the way to do this now is using the cloning components. So let me go ahead and share this whole post here. Where's the share? And where are you guys at? Y'all are over here. So custom list viewer. So there's that for you, Robert. And if you want to learn about cloning, I actually just released a video on the channel for any components. So if we come to, where is it? Nope, we don't want to create a channel. We want to go to my channel. Where's the button? Dark theme, obviously we want to do that. I don't know, am I blind, y'all? I'm sorry if I'm blind. I need a bookmark. I'm using like, I want to use this as like my separate kind of tutorial thing. So it doesn't have all my other stuff, because I have a ton of bookmarks on my other one. So if we come to videos and what are any components, get you a link to share for this one. So any components allow you to clone things, and then that article that I just posted, that shows you how to edit those things. So any components. So with those two things, you should be able to see how to make that custom list viewer. So basically you create a row that has I'll get old Neil deGrasse off of here. Basically you create a row, and then in that row you can have an image and your label, and then you clone that row for every item in your lists, and then you can go through and update each of those elements from some data set. So it's not as clean, but it gets the job done. I've used it on let's see, I think just two of the apps I've worked on so far. I've used this method until we get a better list viewer out there. So let me mark that one as done. Let me see if there are any other quick questions I can answer. Oh dang, a lot of these. Oh, so there are. Robert, I didn't even look at your app there. I guess I didn't really need to. So sorry about that. If there's something specific about it, you can let me know that you wanted me to look at. Let's check back in, see what questions are coming in. Oh, Isaac, the web version doesn't clear the cache. Thanks for letting me know that. That's good to know. How do we... So Rob, did you ask a question? Oh, wait. Let's see. Okay, why is Thunkable... Oh, we already asked that. Oh, Rob, so how would we go about setting permissions for specific users? Example, once authenticated, users can only access certain areas of your app. So for that, I would say, let me go to my Firebase app. And on the little, login screen here. So here on my Firepass app, and this app is available in my Thunkable, what do I call it? My Remix Vault. And that is in my Thunkable Toolkit, which you can access from going to my website, anvilmind.com, if you don't have access already. So basically when someone logs in, we save their user ID, and that user ID I use to let me know that somebody's logged in. So maybe you could use that to say if there is a user ID, then show this button or allow them to go to this place. Let me get some water real quick. So that would tell you that they are logged in. And whenever they log out, you can clear out that user ID if you're using it as a stored variable. If you're not, then an app variable would work as well. All right. Alea, how can we save information inside of a row and bring it to another screen? Then based off what is saved, the app will give recommendations. So whenever you want to save something and use it on another screen, you need to use variables. That's exactly what variables are used for. So let me come back to my Scratch project here, and we will let's just scratch it all. All right, so we'll say this is v text, and let's just use, let's go ahead and do a good little example here. So we want the user to enter something, so we'll have a button and a text input,
And what we want to do is when they enter text here, we're going to click this button. And when we click that button, we're going to go to the next screen and then show that value that they entered. And then I'll show kind of what you're looking for, which is how do we use that to do something logical. I'll leave that there. All right, so we have text input and a button. So whenever the screen starts, we're going to do nothing because the screen just started. Or maybe when screen starts, let's empty the text input. So this will clear out any text that's in the text input. All right, and then when the button is clicked, let's go ahead and check if the input value has something. So we'll say if, let me do it this way. There's a few different ways to check this. We'll say, let's see though, is the length of the text input, get text, so yeah, is the length of it greater than 0? So have they entered something? So this is great if you're trying to do some this is called validation. We're validating what the user has inserted. And what I would normally do is show an alert, but the web component doesn't, this little web app thing here doesn't let you do that. So I'm not going to show that for now. And it's not really what you're asking. Anyways, let's get back to it. I'm sorry, I rambled. So if they have entered something in the text input, we want to save that to a variable so that we can use it other places in the apps. We'll call this vtext. And let's go ahead and update that vtext to an empty string whenever the screen starts. All right, boom. And so whenever this is clicked, we want to save what they have inserted to our new variable called vtext. So I'll grab that variable, set text to what they have inserted, which is this right here. And then after that's done, then we'll go to the next screen. So we'll navigate to screen 1. All right. So now on this screen, what do we want to do? Well, let's go ahead and display what they inserted. So we have a label here, and we'll say from text label add vtext. So let's test that out. So this opens up, and let's click the button. So nothing is happening because I haven't entered anything. So let me go ahead and type in something. So now when I click the button, I should go to the next screen and it shows me something. So great. So it's there, but the question was asking based off what is saved in the app will give recommendations. So let's kind of update what we're doing here. Let's have the user enter, say you're trying to collect, let's just use like an age. So they'll enter their age. They're entering a number. So we'll say, what's your age? And then we'll say go. So when they enter their age, they go to the next screen. And what we want to do is based off what they enter, what this variable is, we'll say something. So whenever we want to do something conditionally, because you said based off what is saved. So whenever you're doing something based off something else, you're going to be checking something. And whenever you're checking something, you're testing something. This is where you get into if statements inside of Thunkable and inside of coding in general. So we'll say if the vtext is less than or equal to, we'll say, what do y'all think is young? What would you consider young these days? I would say young is like, I don't know, 14. So if you're less than 14, let's set the text label to, whoa, young gun. Slow down. And then let's do an else if. So else if. So we're checking, is the text less than 14? And now we want to check, let's do this. So if the variable is between two things, so we'll say or. We're going to use an or statement. So we'll say if, and let me go, because this is going to be confusing. Let's just name this age. If age is less than or equal to 14, we say, whoa, young gun, slow down. If it is greater than 14 or less than or equal to 29, we'll say the text prime time. Else, if anything else, we'll say the good old days. All right, so we're using the variable from the other screen to do something conditionally on this screen. Cool. So let's go, and then let's do this. Let's wait 3 seconds and then go back to the previous screen just so we can set up a test case here. Go back to splash screen. Cool. Test. All right, what's your age? My age is, let's say I am 19. I'm not 19. Go. Prime time. It's waiting. It's waiting. Goes back to the last one. Cool. Let's say I'm 57. I'm not 57. Go. Oh no, something didn't work. We'll have to come. Oh, is this the cache thing? I don't know. Let's try it again. 10. Whoa, young gun, slow down. Slow down. Let's try 57 again. I'm curious why that didn't work. Oh, wait, no. Or less than or equal to, or less than or equal to 29. Can anybody tell me why this is working? Anybody? I'm confused. Else, so, oh, boom. Okay, obviously, yeah. So, big mistake. Don't do this. So, what is happening is 57 is not less than 14. So it skips this if, then it goes to else if, and then it asks, is the age greater than 14? Well, 57 is greater than 14. Or age is less than or equal to 29. So an or statement asks, is either of these statements true? And so while 57 is less than or equal to 29, it's not less than or equal to 29. It is greater than 14. So we need to change this or to an and so now when we enter 57, it should enter the last quote there. The good old days. Ah, great. Dave, thank you. Thank you for your help. I know there's a little delay here. I wish it was a little bit more live. But another point you could ask is why are we even saying greater than 14 here? We don't need that statement, because right here we're checking to see if it's less than 14. So we know if it gets past this statement here, it is going to be greater than 14. So this will work the same if we get rid of all this. And so now we're saying if it's less than 14, you do this. If it's less than 29, do this. Else, show this. We can test that out. So we'll say 10. Whoa, young gun, slow down. Let's do 20. Prime time. I watched a show on Netflix recently. It was called 100 Humans. And one of the episodes, they talked about like which age is the best time to live. And their conclusion was that in your 20s was the prime time. All right, last one, 49. Go, the good old days. Cool. All right, so that should answer one of your questions. You have a lot of them, Alega. Maybe we'll give somebody else a chance here. How can I link maps component to a spreadsheet database or a database that's from It's Me? I think that's a matter of you'll have to pull in the data based off some data source and then use that data to show something in the map. So if you want to save, I don't really know what you want to do with the maps. Do I have any examples of this? Have I used Google? Oh, I have used Google Maps. This was a long time ago, wasn't it? So I'm assuming you may have seen my Brewbase API example. So in there I talk about getting coordinates from somewhere. In this case, we're getting them from an API and then displaying them on the maps. Maybe that will help. And then if you want to display some texts from the database, you can do that as well. Alex, how do we change the hint color of the text input component in Thunkable? Good question. I can show you how to do that. So right here is a text input. In a text input, you have the hint, which is what shows here when there's nothing in there. And then you have the text, which is what shows if there is something. So here is me. Oh, that didn't work. All right, so that's a bug with Thunkable. But anyways, hint color is in advanced. And if we go to text style, you got color, text offset color, text decoration. I know it is here somewhere. Hint text color. There you go. It's all the way at the bottom of the advanced. The advanced properties rather. And then I think you can. So maybe we can test that. Yeah, it's not working there. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. Actually, we're getting up to the hour now. All right, while that's pulling up, Judy, hey, how you doing? How do you delete an item from a list? Good question. How can you connect iMessage to the app? Oh, I don't know about iMessage. That's gonna be interesting. Continue. Go to this account. Yeah, okay, so let me see what this looks like. Ooh. Pew. There you go. So the text is red. So this web app, this little web, oh, we're blurry now. Let me come, we'll get you. Hello? Cool, so yeah, the web app is good for some things, but it's also buggy in other areas. So you just, whenever you're testing something in there and it's not working as you expected, definitely test it on your actual app on your phone. Cool. Silabert, can you show me how to set up a notification that reminds the user about events on certain days similar to a calendar? So notifications, yes. So I have worked on notifications a good bit on one of the apps I've worked on. I do want to do kind of like a nice video of this. But I will say I'll tell you the process. The process is you have to add the user to a group inside of OneSignal, and basically you can send automatic notifications to people in that group. So if you can figure that out, good luck. But hopefully I hope to show it one day. And real quick, if you are here and you submitted a question that I have not answered yet, please let me know. I'm not going to get into some of these because they are. I'm just not gonna have time this week. Very thorough questions, and so yeah, if you're here, I'll take some time to answer it. But if not, then I won't, because I want to respect all of you that are here. Cool. It doesn't change when you display it. live on a device. Alex, I mean, I just showed you that it changed. So can you clarify there? This is from Robert again. How do we change the background color of a bottom tab navigator? Good question. We can do that. So let's come over to the bottom tab navigator. We'll pull that into our, I'll do it this way. Can we show this? Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, it's because I have it on my phone here. Turn that off. And you're still looking at my face. Sorry about that. All right, so what I did here was add a bottom tab navigator, and it adds some predefined screens. So let me say we'll go to live test. So here you can see the different little icons here for the tab navigator. And what Robert's asking is, how do we change these colors? So that is on, you go to the screen itself, and you scroll down to the oh, wait. Am I right? So tab navigation, you change the icons. All right, so let me make sure it's here. Before I tell you how to do this, let me make sure it's still working. Yeah, okay. So on the individual screens, you can change the text, and you can change an icon to show on there. But then the color is global to the bottom tab navigator. So you have active tint color, active background color. So the tint color would be the color of the text. So let's change the active tint color to red and the active background color to yellow. Do something very obnoxious there. And then inactive, we can change that to gray for the text and leave the background color white. So now when we live test, we'll see now, since we're on home, you can see now that it has changed colors. Oh, I realize that my little webcam thing here is kind of blocking that view, but yeah, you can see. Cool. Any popular apps that you know of created in Thunkable, just so we can get an idea of its true capabilities? So the most popular one that everyone always recommends is Veggie Alternatives. They've been featured on news websites and everything, so I think that one's probably the most popular. I will say I haven't touched base with this client in a little bit, but if it's still up, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing the app that we worked on together. So let's go to the Google Play Store. And now I have to remember what this app is called. Let's see. My mind's going blank because I'm live here. Oh yeah, okay, so let's try det 0. Cool. Yeah, so this right here is the most advanced app that I have worked on. Basically, me and the creator, we worked on it together, and he did a lot of the design, and he did all the brains behind it, and he just told me what to do, and I figured it out. I mean, you can see the capabilities here. You don't have access to the project, but you can definitely download that. And so basically this is a debt reduction app. So you log in, you can enter in your debts, and then it will kind of guide you through, paying off those debts, keeping track of it, and all that good stuff. So definitely check out that one. Oh, all right. All right, so let's answer a few more. So I'm gonna answer these questions from Judy and Hannah, and then we'll end it out. So Judy, can you show how to delete an item from a list? So let's do that one Nina submitted a question about how can someone upload a picture onto the app. Oh, cool. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. So let's do deleting an item from a list. I wish I would have saved my example from earlier. So that's a lesson learned for next time, is save your examples, especially with lists, because that's something that people always ask about. And I will always love you. I'm sorry, I sing sometimes. Boop. Alright, so I'm gonna save it. So list viewer, add that to the app. Text items are 1, 2, 3. And so there's 2 ways that you would delete something. You can delete it by clicking on it, or you can look for it and delete it. So let me show you how to click on it and delete it. So we'll do list viewer. Whenever an item is clicked, we want to, this isn't going to be a good example. 1, 2, 3. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and you can go look at that, that whenever you're working with a list, you need it to be in a variable, and then you update that variable and then display that on the screen. So vlist, and we're going to set this equal to a few numbers here, and we'll display those numbers on the screen. Oh, I broke something, didn't I? Oh wait, no I didn't. Well, maybe I did. Oh, I don't want to do that when the item's clicked. I want to do that when the screen starts. So when the screen starts, we set the list viewer to that list of items. All right, and then now we do, when that item is clicked, we'll say from inList vlist remove index 1 or whatever you clicked, and then we need to update the list viewer again. So we'll say from list viewer text items to vlist. Cool. So now whenever we click on one, it removes it from the list. Cool. Judy, you also mentioned Nina asked a question about how can someone upload a picture onto the app. So I have a video on this. We'll go to why do I always do that? youtube.com/ThunkableXtutorials. I did a playlist that had a few videos on images a while back. And so getting started with images. And here I show you uploading through a camera component. This video I show you uploading through a photo library component, so uploading from the phone. And then this one I show you how to connect the two, so you can give them the option to upload from the phone or from the photo library. And I believe this one is in my remix vault as well if you want to get access to that. All right, Hannah, is it possible to create graphs using users' input? I have seen, so basically to do that, you have to use an API and I think a web viewer. So let's just type in graphs on the community forums. Yeah, graphs charts, they're a good way to make them in Thunkable. Update, I've created my own algorithm to figure out a trend line using quickchart.io. Oh, cool. So yeah, basically look up on I've seen on the community forum some options for graphs, so check that out. Hey, now I'm also having trouble deleting items from a list. Cool, I showed you all how to do that. OB, thank you.
Robert, thanks Darren for your time. Thank y'all for joining. I definitely had a bigger turnout than I was expecting. So, I mean, I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think we'll do it again next week and go from there. So yeah, anybody watching the replay and all of you that are watching now, you can submit questions before, and I'll try to look through. I'll look through the ones that were submitted before this call that we didn't get to, and any of them that I think would be good examples, I'll try to make sure we touch on next week. But the secret for all of you is, if you want your question answered, the best way to do that is to come live and tell me, hey, I'm here, answer my question. So I hope you are all doing good, and y'all are safe during this time. I know it's hard for a lot of people, and depending on your region. Lucky for me, no one in my family has been impacted. We've just been staying at home, and yeah, it's been good. Been living life, and yep. So that's me. I'm Darren. This is our Q&A live. Maybe we'll give it a fancy name one of these days, and I hope to do more of this. And again, I want to help you as much as I can, and yeah. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, it's me. Bye, Alfonso. Y'all take care.